you already have taught classes, you're familiar with this, but this is what it looks like to you, right? So are you guys seeing my screen? Okay, so this is our class right here. And, you know, I have the syllabus here, my name, the instructor, the Zoom links are here, the office hours, the syllabus, and then the YouTube channel, okay? They're all here. Now, what's kind of nice is this is very easy to edit. So I could just hit this edit button. And right now I can go in and see these things are just laid out here. And it's much like you're in Gmail or something. It's a very simple editor. And you can add links, you can add images, you can center things, you can change fonts and font sizes and add bullets and all that stuff, okay? So it's just like writing an email. And and links are nice because that makes it very easy, okay? So then I just say update, here we go, and that pops me back out, okay?
Excuse me, Dr. Goldberg?
Yeah.
Would you mind making the text bigger? I think you can do that if you push, like if you're on a PC, Control plus, or maybe it's like Command plus for a.
Like that?
Thank you. Yeah, that's awesome.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for asking. Yes. Is that better?
Yeah.
Okay,
Perfect.
good. So yeah, so I just want to basically, and by the way, anyone, please don't hesitate to ask me to do that anytime. It's easy. But what I want you to see is that you have all kinds of other features over here. You have the ability to, this is the home page for this class. Then I can go to announcements here, and ZY, our reader for the class, is able to send out announcements, okay? And you can just say plus announcement, and you can say, I want to, you can give it a title, again, just like sending an email, but it's automatically gets sent out to all the students in the class. And you can add links, images, etc. Cancel that. Okay, and then you have discussions. You have ability to do that. You have people. And here I can see the roster for the entire class. I'll just go quickly over that. And many of you have photos here that are in this system, but there's another system that we use for being able to get access to. Cal Central basically gives me a roster with all your photos on it. You can add files, you can change the syllabus, you can take attendance, you can do all kinds of things. You can set up quizzes, modules, rubrics for the homeworks you can set in here. You can do conferences, settings. There's a way to do this, and I haven't done this yet, but there's apparently a way to connect so that your Zoom recordings get automatically added in here. So you can do that. You can really put a lot more detail in terms of photos, etc. in here. And then you can look at what is the student view of this class, of this page, right? This is what it looks like. And leave the student view. Do you get the idea? So you can assign homeworks. Actually, let me do that real quick. Let me show what that looks like. Assignments here. So you have assignments, you set a due date, and say how much the assignment is worth. And you can hit assignment here, plus assignment to add one, give it a number of points, describe what it is and how it gets collected, whether it's your homework or a lab or a quiz. You can display how you want the grades displayed, points. It could be a letter grade, complete, incomplete. See, it's quite general. And basically you're saying how they submit it, which would be typically file upload, usually a PDF, submission attempts, unlimited, group assignments, peer reviews, which is very interesting. So you can set it up so people can review their, they can grade themselves. You can assign it to everyone, you give a due date, and you can also have a closing date, okay? So it makes it really nice to be able to manage homeworks, okay? So this is what goes on behind the scene. And then you also have a dashboard. I'll show you mine. It's all your classes. And so you can go in and see what past classes, information on past classes. You can also clone a class. So once you have a class that you taught last year, there's a way to say, okay, I'm going to take that from fall 2019 and make a new version for 2020 and pull in a lot of the same information. Of course, you always need to adjust the dates and of course you'll fine tune it, but makes it very nice to be able to teach a course that you've taught before. So this keeps keep track of all that. Okay. I wanted to also go back here. So this is where we are on our schedule, which is talking about where are we? Right here. Oh no. Here we are, B courses. So we just talked about B courses as a tool. Does anybody have any thoughts on this? Any experience that you want to share? What do you guys think of it? Do you like B courses as an instructor or as a student? Any thought?
Wait, Professor Goldberg. So I think you briefly mentioned this. So the roster photos, I guess what I was used to from my previous experiences, there's a tab that's only visible to instructors that kind of, as you said, shows everyone's photo with their names. But that at Cal, or maybe with recent updates, that's given in a separate link, right? Like, yeah, separate from B courses. Okay.
Yeah, it's actually it's a very good question. So B courses, as you saw, has certain. I see like a very small number of you, just like 3 or 4, have your photos in there. But on Cal Central, which is where I enter final grades and things, that's I have a little post. I have a small portrait of everybody. Okay. So, and that's pretty restricted because that's very, very hard to get into. I think there's a lot of fear at Cal about students' names getting exposed. Okay, so that's probably what's going on there. One thing I think, Enzi, to your point, is I actually think we should do that better job of that, because the images are, I believe, taken from your student ID. And if you guys remember getting your student ID, usually you're really rushed. You're stressed, you've been running all over the campus trying to get your stuff, and they like take a picture and it's like, and then it's a very low res, grainy, bad photo, okay? And a lot of times I don't even recognize who this person is. Like I know them from the class, but I look at the picture and it's like, that is not the same person. It's like so bad. So what I would love to see is really somehow fixing that, and that everybody would get like be able to either choose or ideally have a very cool photo of everybody in a nice high-res color form that I could keep track of. So and you could update your own. So actually, if you think about it, the Zoom is interesting because you can change your picture, your default picture, right? And I'm looking here at Emma and Stefano, right, who have their images up, but those are great images. Julie, right? So you get to choose, and Preston, yes, it looks good. And you can Christopher, Eduardo, right? You've carefully chosen those images to be what you want, and you could change it, right? If you get a better photo, or if you just, you're looking at it and you say, I'd like to get a better image of myself. So that's really interesting, because I think that would be very valuable, because I'd like to see you in your best self, right? And I'd like to have that in a nice, clear image. That would help me a lot. And yeah, and I do print these out every semester, I'll tell you, but Cal Central, by the way, has a weird nuance, which is that it's a crusty old program, and it prints it out in a way that is, don't get me started, but it doesn't print very easily. So they have to do all these tricks to get it to print, and there ends up that the images are tiny. And so it's basically worthless for getting that visual raster.
I see.
So,
sorry, I don't mean to harp on this. I was just, in
No.
my past experience at my old school, you, as a GSI, you could see this roster photos. So, and the way this relates to names is before I TA'd every class, I would actually go through, and it would sometimes take weeks for like a class of 150 students, but I would try to just learn everyone's names because I had access to this name photo thing, running into exactly the problem you described, where some people look so drastically different from their school ID photos that sometimes it worked out really poorly, and then it led to some of the awkward situations that the other students have described. That's all I wanted to say on that. Yeah.
No, but that's great. And you know, I actually do know some teachers who do that. They'll do like almost like these flashcards, and they'll really spend time to get to know the names. And again, it's just like I love that they can do it, but I would never be able to do it. Like I'd be spending so much time trying to figure it out, and then I'd get it wrong in the end. And right, but if you that's actually, I'm glad you brought that up, because if you do have a fairly good with this, with names and faces, then getting the roster, which the instructor can get you, and you can then look at those and you can help you. But I agree with you, it would be a lot better if there were nice high quality images to go with it. I mean, in this case, you know, you could do it right now. We have it, I could say, everybody put up your photo image and then just take a snapshot from this screen, and that would be like a nice visual roster. But the good news is I don't need to, because I have your name is always on there. All right. Someone noticed that in business classes, Julie, see, it doesn't have to be someone, it's Julie, said in business classes, everyone has to put a name card in front of them. And that's nice, you're right. And that's right. We usually in business school, you're on a tiered, you know, you have tiers, and you have, so you can see everybody's name. And yeah, I think that's, that would be great. Generally, engineering classes are so cramped that there's nowhere to put such a card. You're lucky to get a seat. So anyway, so I don't want to get too far on that rabbit hole. Okay, do you have a couple more minutes? I just want to look at Piazza together. There's a little video I want to share with you, okay? So just for a few more minutes, then I'll let you go. So I'm going to share my screen again, and I'm going to share it so I can play a video here. So if we go to Piazza, which is again is linked, you're going to see this is the website for Piazza, and so I'm just going to show you. Let me just ask, how many of you, if you have experience with Piazza, or I guess you have a fair amount of experience either from a student perspective. Emma, you raised your hand?
Yeah, using Piazza both as a student and as an instructor right now.
You are? Okay, great. So we're going to watch this together, and then I'm going to ask for your thoughts on it. Okay, let's jump in. I'm going to just show this. It's creating and configuring your class. So it's just about how to get started with it. Actually, wait, let's see if this.
Piazza, the online Q&A platform, is incredibly easy and completely free for professors, students, and universities. Piazza eliminates redundant emails and creates tremendous engagement between students and instructors. Used by over 30,000 professors and hundreds of thousands of students around the world, Piazza is FERPA compliant and integrates with all major learning management systems. Professors choose to create their classes on Piazza because it has a streamlined and intuitive interface, helps eliminate email inbox clutter, and is a driver of significantly higher student participation. Some of our most helpful features include a wiki-style format, so you and your students can build a single high-quality answer, avoiding dozens of disconnected comments. Customizable polls, enabling you to take a pulse of your class. LaTeX support inline, or through an editor, to easily write code and equations. Code blocking and syntax highlighting for easy code reading. Rich text editing and the ability to upload pictures, embed videos, and share files, which makes it easy to post materials and generate robust discussion. Quick views of updates, unresolved posts, and unanswered questions, so you know exactly where to focus your time. Detailed class statistics that you can view and download anytime, so you can easily track and reward student and TA participation. Students love Piazza because they can get help in minutes, anytime, day or night. They are notified as soon as their question is answered, removing the need to keep checking if they received a response. Professor endorsements encourage students by letting them know that they are on the right track, and, if professors choose, students can ask and answer questions anonymously, which empowers every student, even the shyest ones, to participate. Getting started is easy and takes just 2 minutes. If you run into a question along the way, email or call us. We'd love to hear from you. Piazza, incredibly easy, completely free.
So that's pretty cool. I have to say, where was it? It's a nice video and it's very clean. So it's basically a way for you to keep track of questions that come up, and you can configure this fairly easy. I'm just gonna, let me just see, creating and configuring your class. Well, I don't know if we go through this now. Just wanted to see, let me just go look at this for 1 second. I think this is in the same spirit of B courses. I might show you this. It's very short as well.
This video will help get your class up and running smoothly using Piazza Q&A. We made it short and sweet, so you'll be ready to go in a matter of minutes. If you don't already have an account, head over to piazza.com and click on the blue Professors and TAs Get Started button. Next, you'll enter your school. You'll be prompted to enter your class name here. Piazza will default to your school's current term, but you do have the option to change this. On the next page, you'll be asked to enter your class number, as well as the number of estimated students that will be enrolled in your class. It's okay if this number changes at any time. Your class term has already been selected. You'll then be asked to select a checkbox, letting us know that you are affiliated with your institution per our terms and conditions. Once you've filled out everything on this page, go ahead and hit the Create Your Class button. On the next page, please confirm your role in the class. For this example, we'll go ahead and join as a professor. Here, you'll enter your email address twice for confirmation, and then hit the Enroll Me button. And from here, you've just created your class on Piazza. The first thing you'll want to do is fill out a few basic details, such as selecting your course start date. Then, you can decide if you'd like TAs and other instructors to be able to enroll themselves into your class. By default, instructor self-signup is disabled. If you'd like other instructors to self-enroll, you can enable this setting. Next, you'll want to enroll your students and other instructors, which you can easily do so in 3 ways. If you'd like students and instructors to be able to self-enroll in your class, you can share the class sign-up link with them. For an additional level of control, you can also add a class access code. If you'd like to enroll your TAs and instructors manually, you can do so by entering their email addresses in this box. When you hit the Add Instructors button, you'll be able to designate what appropriate role they should be given on Piazza. To enroll students manually, enter their email addresses here, or upload a CSV file if you happen to have your student roster handy. If you're not ready to enroll your students just yet, you can do so later by navigating to the Manage Class tab in your top bar. Configuring your class Q&A settings is where you can enable private or anonymous posts. You can configure additional settings in your Manage Class tab. Here, you can create and modify folders, which help keep your class content organized. This section highlights getting familiar with the top bar. In introducing Piazza to your students, we provided you with a template that you can use for posting a welcome note to your class. And lastly, we've shared a helpful post that we recommend checking out to see how other professors have successfully introduced Piazza into their classes. When you're done with your setup, click this button here, and you'll be taken to your class. It's as easy as that. Our team is here to help. Please don't hesitate to reach out to us at team@piazza.com if you have any questions or need help getting started with your class. We also host twice daily demos and office hours. Visit this link to view the full schedule. We'd love to have you join for one of our sessions.
Okay, good. So let's just touch base for a few minutes on, I see this discussion on the chat board here about sharing pictures. And let me see, sharing photos. Yeah, so you guys are touching on some really good, this is some really good ethical questions, and I really want to have that discussion. We're going to get actually into that about fairness and sensitivity. And I think, someone remind me, because I want to come back to it. I'm really glad you guys are debating this right now. We should, I want to take that up later. But as you can see, there's a lot of nuances to something as simple as you might think of just saying, hey, everybody, first assignment, send me a really good photo of yourself. That could actually be upsetting and frustrating to students. So you want to be thoughtful about it. So we'll talk about this and come back to it. Something where just by good intentions and not thinking all the way through could end up having a really stressful experience for a student. Okay. So, but that's going to be a longer conversation. So what I want to do now is just touch on Piazza for a few minutes. And Emma, you are going to share with us your thoughts on Piazza. What do you think about it?
I think it's extremely helpful because there's a lot of student-to-student conversations going on, and they do like help out each other a lot, and they ask a lot of good questions. And we actually, in our class right now, we actually have like a very small but like maybe 1%-ish participation grade for people who have very good contributions on Piazza. Either they ask a lot of good questions or they help other students out a lot. So yeah, like just to encourage people to participate. And I was just looking at our course Piazza, and we have 3,448 total contributions so far. I mean, it's a 700-person class, but still very impressive. And definitely not all of them are like replied by instructors. A lot, like I would say maybe even majority of them or half of them is student answered.
Great.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, so the peer-to-peer is really nice, right? You're gonna get students answering other students' questions and essentially getting points for that, right? Getting credit. Yeah, so it's great that way. Listen, 3,000, I mean, imagine if you had all those come into your email, right? So it is a nice way to manage classes of that size, 700 people. Good. So you like it, and it's sort of self-contained, and you can go in with the other, I presume there are other GSIs in that class, so everybody can take turns kind of trying to answer questions. How do others feel about it from either the instructor point of view or the receiving point of view if you're using it in a class? Anyone have a strong feeling?
I think it's super helpful from a student perspective.
Okay.
And it saves time from having to wait in line at a professor's office too.
Right, good. Okay, here's one potential downside I want to say, which is it may cause a certain sense of obligation, I think, from students that there's all this other material that they don't necessarily, they may not have seen, right? So I'm just putting myself again, I'm just trying to project, but I would imagine some people would say, well, I don't, if there's something interesting that was revealed there in the Piazza, I don't know it, that might come up in the midterm or the final, and I need to know. So therefore, I have to read somehow all of this material. And that could end up being, in an MS class, could be very daunting, right? To look over thousands of posts. So Emma, how do you think students cope with that pressure, or how do they manage the fact that no one can keep up with everything that's being said there?
Yeah, that's definitely a good question. I think there are two sides of that. As a student, when I took like very big classes, like 800 people-ish, I initially, when I started using Piazza, I also got I felt obligated to read all of them. But I think gradually I realized if it's very important, then it's gonna get because on Piazza you can also have posts that will send out an email to all of those people in this class. So if it's important information like midterm dates and stuff, then the staff will definitely make sure everyone gets it. And from the instructor point of view, like our main channel of communication on the syllabus, it clearly says it's Piazza. And we say that all of our important announcements will be posted on Piazza and will also like accompany with an email announcement. But like, just to let people know from the start of class that for the pinned posts, you should be able to keep track of them, and you should be accessing Piazza pretty much at least weekly.
Okay. So that's actually good. So you can highlight certain sort of important announcements or updates, right? So not every single question. But I do think that this is an interesting thing. If it, some students, this goes back to learning styles. Some students want to make sure they cover everything, every page, every single thing. I know that because I was kind of one of those students. Like I didn't want to leave anything out, and I would be the one who would say, I got to go through every one of those things. You know what I mean? And I would be. It's like when I go to a museum, I want to see every room in the museum. That's what just, I don't know, is anybody else like that? But it drives me crazy to go to a museum and not see everything. So I want to make sure did I see everything? Did I miss anything? It's kind of neurotic, I think. But that I would have the same attitude toward my classes a lot of times. When I was a student, I wanted to make sure I did everything. I covered all the bases. So all the readings, everything else, that I do everything because I want to be as prepared as possible for that midterm or that final. So that's one thing I kind of worry about, because this was when I was in school, we didn't have Piazza, and so I didn't have that problem. But I could imagine that it could be a little overwhelming to some students. That it's just so much information, Okay, and then I see Michael has a question over here in the chat. How many of those 5,000 questions were repeated versions of each other? And Emma, you want to answer that?
Right, I was just typing it up, but yeah, maybe talking directly is easier. I think contributions, like every reply or comment or question counts as a contribution. So it's not as much as 5,000 questions, but it is a lot. And actually, I don't think there's that much that's repeated because people can search very easily on Piazza. So if there's something repeated, they can just directly get the answer. If there's repeated stuff, usually some student or a UGSI would actually link the thread so that for them to look at that thread instead. Good,
very good, excellent. Yeah, so so it did say there was something in there. If you watch the video, that went by kind of quickly, but you could link that this was already answered earlier. So there's a way of handling that, but that's still, so far as I know, is manually done right now, not automated. Okay, well anyway, we're not using it in this class, and I don't think we have a need to. It's just not that there's not that much factual information. All right, and Preston is saying we're over our time. I'm sorry, I have so much fun in this class talking to you guys, and I apologize. We're going too low. Let's go. I will call it a day. Let's call it a day, and I will see you next week. And let me reiterate my pledge to you, which is that at any time when you feel like you have enough for the day, you can drop off the class. I'm not going to feel bad. So please don't feel obligated. Stay to the end. I'm just, sometimes we're getting into so many interesting discussions. I can't help myself. But anyway, thank you guys all for bearing with us and with me. And I will see you next week. All right. Bye. Have a great week, everybody. Bye.